How's it going, everybody? It's time for another Mr. Poestyle video. What am I going to say? I'm going to talk about Popeye, the new release for the Nintendo Switch. Very, 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 very loosely based on the original Nintendo arcade cabinet. Or if you're from the UK, licensed to Atari cabinet. Arcade game. And, we're going to do some gameplay. You're going to watch that. Well, you might watch that. I don't know if you will or not. It's coming up after this introduction. This introduction might be a little long because Popeye, the arcade game for home consoles, is one of my all-time favorite games. Now, if you're a retro gamer, you know the story. I should say vintage retro gamer, because now they consider even the Wii retro gaming, probably the Wii U by now. I don't know. Maybe any system from the past is that retro gaming. PS4, since the 5 is out, even though most people can't get a hold of it. Anyway, if you're a retro gamer, you know the story that we've all heard, probably, that Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, created Donkey Kong. Originally, they said he, or Nintendo, wanted to make a Popeye game, but couldn't get the licensing from King Features Syndicate. So they ended up making Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was Bluto or Brutus, whichever. Pauline is Olive Oil, and Mario, or Jumpman, or whatever, the carpenter, later plumber, was Popeye. So things were switched because they couldn't get the license from King Feature Syndicate. I don't know. That's the story I've heard. Probably most of you heard. Is it true? I was always told it was true. Maybe. But anyway, eventually they did. Donkey Kong was an '81 arcade game that took off, went crazy. They eventually did get the license. They made Popeye arcade game in 1982, and then it was released by Parker Brothers for multiple systems the following year. It was also one of the very first 3 launch titles for the Famicom, Nintendo, NES, in Japan in 1983, along with Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., I believe, and Popeye. Those were the original launch releases over there. So I have quite a good collection of the home console ports. Not a whole lot of boxed stuff here, but I just wanted to go ahead and show them before I show the gameplay of the new Switch game that is very loosely based on the arcade game. And I really wish that they would have just, whatever they needed to do, if they needed to get the license again or whatever, I really wish they would have just put the arcade port of Popeye on the Switch. I would have been very, very happy with that. Because even with all these other games I have, I do not have MAME. I've never done that. I do not have a home version of the arcade port of Popeye. But this is the one that started it all for me. So I'll just show my collection real quick here. And this was my oldest brother. He's 4 years older than me. This was his cartridge for the Atari 2600. And this is the first time I ever played Popeye the arcade game. And I loved it. To me, this was awesome. We didn't get our Atari 2600 until Christmas of 1982, I believe. Yes, when I was 9 years old. We got a bunch of games through the years, and we borrowed a ton of games, and we had a shoebox full of games through the years. But Popeye, to me, was one of the first ones that it took Atari 2600 a bit further, at least for me. I'm not saying that for everybody, but I mean, you had 3 screens. It was like the arcade game. You could tell Popeye was Popeye, Olive was Olive, Bluto was Bluto, Brutus, whoever. And When you got the spinach, it played the Popeye theme music. You knew it was the Popeye theme music from watching the cartoons. This was the 80s, you know. Popeye was usually on early in the mornings on syndication, so I loved to watch it. No, I was not a Navy guy. I was an Air Force guy, but my father was in the Navy. My oldest brother was in the Navy. His two sons are in the Navy as we speak. A lot of seamen in my family. Seamen. But I love this game. This was his back in the day. It's still in great shape. Usually Parker Brother labels are like just shit in the bed all over the place, but this one is looking grand. So when I started collecting again, originally the reason I was going to start collecting again is I was going to build a cabinet, a main cabinet. And I didn't. I just started collecting for my Nintendo and 2600 again, and then I started buying consoles like crazy. So I bought games for it, and I bought ports of Popeye for as many of them as I could that were out. So I also have the Intellivision port, and they're all good to me. I love them all. But you know, just to see the differences here. Here's the Atari 2600. Here is the Intellivision version. And here is the ColecoVision version. And I actually bought this on eBay. Somebody had it listed as the 2600 version, but when I was looking at the pictures, you see the difference? You see the shape? The PCB, you know, is a little bit wider on the ColecoVision. Here's the Atari 2600. You can see the difference in the shape. And also, the ColecoVision's games had a place to put the overlays for the controllers in the back. So when I saw the pictures, I am like, you know, that was a couple dollars instead of paying $15 for the ColecoVision. Somebody had it listed as Atari 2600, so I bought it because I knew it was Coleco from looking at it. Is that dishonest? I don't know. I don't care. I got it. Very fun games. I love them. There was also Game & Watch that was not based on the arcade game, so I never bought that. Plus the green one, or the, you know, they're expensive, really expensive, a couple $100 probably for that. It was a little looked like a little arcade machine, Game & Watch type of deal. But those are that's the 2600 version, the ColecoVision and Intellivision version. This is my cartridge for the Atari 5200, and I actually have a handful of these. It seemed like every time I was getting a lot of 5200 games, I would get a Popeye in there. And they also had places for overlays on the back of theirs, but I mean, you can see the difference. 5200 cartridges were some fat asses to match the fat ass machine. What else do we have here? I'm going to run out of room for holding these things. I have the Famicom cartridge. I use my adapter on my NES to play Famicom games now and then. And yeah, it's just the NES version, which at the time was the closest to the arcade version. And speaking of NES, here's my NES copy. Black box original lineup game, right? One of them. This was the closest at the time. Somebody's working on an Atari 7800 version of the game as we speak, and I really want that. It looks like it's even closer still to the arcade version. I don't have an arcade cabinet, I think I said. I found bezels, original bezels, repro bezels that you can buy. I don't have anything like that. I never bought them to display. I don't really display things like that. We'll get into a couple of the more obscure things, I guess. This is a game that I did a video on earlier, several months ago, and this is an educational game. It is based on the Popeye arcade game, but it is it teaches the English language to the Japanese. It never came out over here But this was one of two, I think, educational games. The other was Donkey Kong Jr. Math. It did come out in both places. But this one never came out. They never translated it over to teach Japanese to English-speaking people. I've played it. Look it up. It's in my videos. It's almost like a hangman type of thing to try to teach people that speak Japanese how to speak English. So that's different. That's for your Famicom. But I wanted it for the collection. Another one that's harder to get. Might have been a Brazil-only release. This is the Odyssey 2 version. And if you've ever seen this one, it's hard to make out who the characters really are in the game. It's a definite step down from all the other versions, even the 2600. But I did buy it. It was a little pricier. You know, this is it. I don't think I've ever had this instruction book actually out of here. So maybe we'll do that now. Actually, this is the first time I've ever had this instruction book. And I've had this game for, I don't even know, a year or two or three. So there you go. First time looking at the instruction manual for it. And it's definitely all in Spanish. There you go. You get an idea of the graphics for it. Crazy. It's like Pippi Longstocking or Wendy from Wendy's fast food restaurant, the chain. But it is Popeye. I'm trying to see here what else it says. But these were 1983 releases by Parker Brothers. Parker Brothers did do a few games for the Odyssey 2. And I'm glad to have it because I just love the game. So I'll play it almost anywhere. And this is the cartridge for the Odyssey 2. They always had the cool handle to rip it on out, right? Get some! And let's see, what else do we have? Now, I always bought it. Those were consoles that I do have that I can actually play it on. So that's why I bought it. But at some point, I was like, I'll buy it for a few things that I can't play it on because I don't own them. So this is the Texas Instruments 99.4A boxed copy that I have of the game. As I said, I can't actually play it because I don't have any of the old computers. But this is what the cartridge looks like, and it didn't come with an instruction manual, even though it's a boxed copy. But that's the cartridge for it. Maybe one day I will have a way to play it yet. But there you go, Texas Instruments. And I have the cartridge for Atari home computers. And I don't have an Atari 800, XEGS 400, or any of that. At this time, I've thought about getting an XEGS. I just haven't. They're getting pricier and pricier by the moment. Just like Jaguar, I know. Jaguar, a lot of people don't like that system, but I just wanted it for my Atari console collection. There's no Popeye on it, by the way. This one does have the instruction manual. Somebody wrote on it. Whatever. I don't really care too much. There's your Popeye proof of purchase on the back. Somebody wrote inside the box as well. Popeye, they wrote P-O-P-Y-E. Popeye. Popeye the Sailor Man. Well, they wrote their high scores, it looks like. It's Popeye. Somebody loved playing Popeye, and they wrote their high scores in there. And this is the cartridge. It looks like all the other Atari 8-bit. Got some plaque going on there like the Activision games usually have. Usually, well, it's peeling too. Usually when you find a Parker Brothers game, the label's peeling. Look, that's Bob Eway. Bob, yeah, that's backwards because I'm looking at the camera. And this is the instruction manual for it. I don't know if there's any pictures. Very basic pictures in it. Picture in it. And that's it as far as on the back. The video game versions of this that I have. Through the years, I also acquired Parker Brothers Popeye, a board game based on the exciting arcade game. So that's in my collection as well. Obviously, because it's in my hands here. There's the back. I got this one probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I've had requests, people ask me to play this. And usually around Christmas break, New Year's break, I play a lot of board games with my son. Sometimes my wife and daughter join in on that too. So maybe we'll play this year. Although I won't have my actual vacation, so hopefully I get some time off. I had my vacation scheduled for starting like the day or two after Christmas, and then I ended up having to go into the hospital for some testing, so I moved my vacation. So I don't have that anymore, but here are the game pieces. There's Popeye. There's Brutus. Or is it Bluto? What's it say in the instructions? Blah, 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 blah. Brutus. They're calling him Brutus here. And we got 3 different colored dice in the game. We have hearts that have a number value on the back of them. There we go. And here are other cards with barrels on them. It's a barrel. The Sea Hag. Barrel. The Sea Hag. Barrel. Barrel. It looks like it's going to be all... Is that barrel or is that spinach? Maybe it's spinach. It doesn't say it. It's awful weird for a tin can. Maybe it is spinach. And this was also... This game says 1983. So... Same the same year the home arcade ports came out. This barrel has spinach on it. So you got your barrel without spinach and your barrel with spinach. So it's probably like the game where it flashes from one side to the other. Somehow this does that too. Sea Hag got a bottle. Sea Hag got a bottle. I don't see Eugene the Jeep. I don't see Wimpy anywhere. But that is the game. Board game based on the arcade game. And that's pretty neat. I'll show the board one more time. You can see that's the arcade game, only board game fashion. And the final thing that I have for my collection here is Popeye, the card game based on the exciting arcade game. And all of this 20 plus minutes here talking about this stuff is just to talk about my love of the arcade game ever since my brother got the Atari 2600 version. Here's the card game. You know, same art as the board game. If there's anything else here, I just dropped that on the floor. And just different numbers on it. I don't know if we got the sea hag. There's your spinach. Another Brutus. Another spinach. Another Popeye. There she is. There's a sea hag. Looking sexy. A wart on her chin. That's all I see. That's all I see, hag. Here. Well, the rest of them are the same, but different number of values on the olive oils. I dropped my box. That's what she said. Bike Parker Brothers, the card game based on the arcade game. So that's it. That's my collection. We're going to get to the Switch version. Spoiler alert. I didn't know this game existed. I watched a John Riggs video of him playing it. It's not the arcade game. Probably loosely based on the arcade game. I don't want to call it new either. You'll see. You will see. It is different. Not so different. Looks similar to something you would have played on a PlayStation or a Nintendo 64 back in the day. But it does have olive oil. She is throwing hearts to you from an elevated area. And we'll just say that. So here comes the video for you. And one day, maybe I'm really seriously thinking about doing a whole video on all of these ports, aside from the computer ones that I have nothing to play them on unless I play them on emulator. And I do have a C64 Mini that I put Popeye on. So I don't have a physical cartridge or disc or tape cassette or whatever it came on for the C64. Sometimes, in some cases, those games came, I think, in multiple ways, different media for the same systems, same computers. But like I said, I do have a 64 Mini with Popeye on there. So maybe I will do a video on all of that at some point. All of these games. It's going to be a very long one, because this one here, while I'm talking to you about the Switch, is already going to be a long one, because I wanted to show you my collection. Now maybe, if I remember, right here, or over the whole thing here, I will do a screenshot, a picture of the whole collection laying together on my floor or something, so you can see it all side by side and pause it and, rub your parts over it or not if you hate Popeye. But maybe I'll do that if I remember. I'm not uploading this until Saturday. This is late Friday night. So if this is uploaded Saturday, don't forget to fall back, time change, end of daylight savings tonight or Sunday morning at like 2 a.m., 2:02, something like that. Saturday night, jump your clocks back. You get an extra hour of sleepy time, extra hour of gaming, an extra hour of whatever you want. So here's the gameplay of the new Nintendo Switch game. I'll be back to tell you what I think. Okay, here we go. Popeye. A little bit of it anyway, huh? Turn up the volume. she's back. Yeah, bitch. Ay, ay.
Popeye, catch!
I bet you it's "Oh Popeye, I love you." Ugh.
Popeye!
Catch! Popeye! Catch! I like to go swimming with bare naked women. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Good thing I ran through that tree. That's right. And of course the telephone's got to ring. Let's just pause this right here. Actually, the wrong number was probably more exciting than this game. There he is. More spinach. Popeye, catch. There he is. There's my buddy.
Popeye, catch.
Hey, I think he threw a bottle at me. How'd he get down here? Ugh. That's about all I can stand. I can't stand no more. Maybe I'll just play long enough to let Brutus Bluto kill me. See what that looks like. Oh my goodness. Where you at, Bluto, Brutus? Bruto, Blupo, Bleepo. There he is. Come here, honey. There we go. That's what I think of this game. What the hell is that? It says, Popeye, go to hell. I'll take this game with you. that's I'm done. My goodness. Okay, so that is the new Popeye on the Nintendo Switch eShop. As far as I know, it's digital only. It only needs to be digital only. It looked like, without all the polygons, really, very, very cheesy. It looked like a bad cell phone game. I don't know that I'll play it again. I think it's around $12, $11. I used some of my coinage on the eShop for it to take away some of the pain. But it's terrible. It only looks like Brutus or Bluto is going to catch you if you let him, like I did at the end of the video. You're collecting hearts, so that part is similar. You can get Spinach and punch him. That part is similar. I just wish they would give us the arcade port on the eShop. I would download that in a heartbeat and play it all the time. I'd love to have a real cabinet too, but that won't ever happen probably. But yeah, it looked like a bad N64 or original PlayStation game without all the polygons. Still very cheesy. And like I said, even cell phone game. It's more of a cell phone game that you would get for free with advertisements. But a bad cell phone game from probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, whenever smartphones first started. I don't review things, but you saw it for yourself. You probably don't want to waste your money on this unless you're a real Popeye original arcade game fan. That's what I am. There's been other Popeye games for other systems. I think the Game Boys or Game Boy Advances, and C64 had a different Popeye game. And, you know, there's other Popeye games out there. I have tried a few here and there. I'm sure there's some mobile games too. I'm not huge fans of them like I am this. This just means something special to me because of the 2600 version originally. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is this something you think that you'll download? I would wait until there's an eShop sale and they mark it down to like $1. That's just me. But I do have it now. I went through the pain of buying it, even though I knew ahead of time, stupid me, from watching John Riggs' video, what it looked like, what it was. But he was still playing it too. A day after his video went up, he was taking a flight somewhere and he posted on social media. Yeah, he was still playing it, even though it is not the grandest. So thanks for watching, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video. Okay, now hold up. There is one more thing I want to do, and I need to do this. It was burp for you. Okay, no, seriously, I wanted to do a shout out for Retro Arcade Music Man. Retro Arcade Music Man is a great channel. Go check him out if you were into any and all old arcade games. Now, his videos are very short. You're going to wish that he did an hour, 2 hours worth. You're going to get 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes mostly. Usually by the time I watch his, I'm getting ready for bed because I get up early for work. But I love watching him right before bed. He was introduced to me by DKOG73. He's a friend of mine. He's got a great channel too. Check out his channel. But most definitely, if you like arcade games, watching people play MAME, then you need to check out Retro Arcade Music Man, because he's got some really good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I have been up for like 20 hours, 21 hours now. So check him out. He's got a great channel, and hopefully at some point he plays Popeye Arcade. See you on the next one, guys. Later. Oh, Nacho. Come here, Nacho. No biting. No bite. Ooh, no biting. Oh, Nacho, stop.